Dear God, we offer everything to you during this seminar. May we ask for your blessing and divine providence that the activities set for this undertaking be successful and effective. May we also retain the invaluable knowledge and learning experiences that we derive from this activity for actual application when we leave this venue. We pray that you bless all the committees in charge, that they fulfill their task responsibly, that the objectives they have set may all be achieved. Your generous blessing would mean the success of this seminar. We know that without it, we can do nothing. May we be living witnesses of your genuine love for the implementation of the knowledge acquired through this activity. Grant us your divine wisdom as we go about our daily task after this seminar. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mabuhay. Maayong hapon. Magandang hapon. Good afternoon to all. And thank you for joining us this afternoon. Today is another exciting topic as part of the Silliman University Faculty and Staff Upskilling Program. Our theme for this upskilling program is from literacy to knowledge deepening towards digitally resilient preferred future. Today, our topic focuses specifically on understanding open educational resources. The Office of the Silliman Online University Learning is also handling a project funded by the Commission on Higher Education on the creation of and open educational resources that is to be accessible by anyone and who would want or who are willing to contribute content as we go on into the new normal of teaching and learning, and that is on the flexible learning. We invited today our competent speaker to talk about open educational resources. Our speaker for this afternoon is a licensed librarian and a former project staff or doing her dissertation about um, educational technology educational leadership. She is currently a faculty at the College of Computer Studies of Silliman University, particularly the coordinator, the program coordinator of the Bachelor of Library and Information Science, or BLIS program. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you our distinguished speaker who will be sharing with us, and so that we educators can understand the value of having an open educational resources, especially nowadays that online or we are in this mode of delivery into the online um, environment. OER, in short, or popularly known as OER, is not actually common. It is just that it is being more popularized, perhaps, because we are in the online setting. So, friends, let me give the screen to our speaker for this afternoon, Dr. Myra Villanueva. Dr. Mai?
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Dave. Good afternoon, everyone. Nakuyawan ko sang competent ba? Let me share my screen first. Sorry. Okay, so let's start with our topic for this afternoon, understanding open educational resources, which Dr. Dave has already given in her introduction, that this is very important component of distance education or open education. Okay, so the term open education resource was first coined in 2002 at a forum organized by UNESCO on open courseware in higher education. In November 2019, the 40th UNESCO General Conference adopted the UNESCO OER recommendation, which is the only international standard setting framework in this area worldwide. Creative Commons define open educational resources are free and openly licensed educational materials that can be used for teaching, learning, research, and other purposes. It is organized learning and research materials made available at no cost and can be used, reused, redistribute without asking permission from the author. For this, according to Wiley, an author who deposited his or her learning materials in whatever format in an OER repository, he or she is already she or he already gave the teacher or a researcher or other members of academic community these 5 R's or rights of OER. Okay, so we have retain or make and own copies. Retain, it is the right to make, own, and control copies of the content. Example, you can download, duplicate, store, or manage the educational resources that you want to. Reuse, it means use in a wide range of ways. The right to use the content in a wide range of ways. Example, you can use it in a class, in a study group, or you can use it on your website, or you can use it in your video. The third R is for revise. Adapt, you can adapt, modify, or improve the materials. It is the right to combine, it is the right to adapt, adjust, or modify, or alter the content itself, or even you can translate it in another language. Okay, so the fourth R is remix, combine two or more. It is the right to combine the original or revise the content with another material to create something new. So for example, incorporate the content into a mashup, or you can revise, you can remix it, or you can produce another through another questionnaire or another video out of that material. Redistribute, or you can share it with others. So the right to share copies of original content or your revision or your remixes with other other researcher, other faculty, or to your friend. Okay, so the general characteristics of OER is usually it is a digital in digital format. Okay, so offered in a digital format, but in some other cases, some of us wanted to have it printed, or you want it the hard copy, so you want to print it, or you want the model to be printed in a 3D printer, so that's that you can be use it in your classroom. The digital format allows the reuse, resharing, adaptation, and repurposing of the resources of the resource for a different educational setting than the original one. Teacher may reuse or share or modify or combine or create the new product as needed in your own classroom. Or teachers can also contextualize the content or the format of the materials depending on how she or he gonna use it in her classroom. Okay, third is they can be any type of learning resource used in an educational setting. Open educational resources include full courses, course materials, modules, textbooks, streaming videos, tests, software, and other tools, materials, or technique used to support teaching and learning. The difference, okay, so we already might be that we already encountered the open access materials. Okay, so I have here the difference between open educational resources and open access resources. So when you say open educational resources, it is related to teaching. We use that for teaching, while the open access, it is usually used for research. However, it can also be used for instruction. Codified knowledge useful for teaching, learning, and stimulating discourse, while the open access is scholarly works primarily created to document new knowledge and advance scholarly conversation. The materials that we use usually in our research. And this is also usually are the materials that is used for teaching and learning. It is both the open educational resources and the open access can be accessed freely. However, in the open educational resources, it can be customized. Okay, so you can download it, you can edit, you can modify it, and you can redistribute it. Okay, so and the formats for OER are we have the videos, software, textbook, assessment resources, teaching guides, images, figures, simulation, and so many more. And for the open access, we have the scholarly books and scholarly journal articles. And it comes when in terms of freedom, okay, so the open educational resources, so you might be you have already encountered this one. This is the public domain. This is it is where we discuss about the copyright issues. Okay, so I will not deal with the copyright issues. Okay, so what I'm going to discuss with you is the difference between OER and open access in terms of freedom. Okay, so public domain materials. So these are in the US. So they have published in the US so 95 or more years ago, or works clearly donated to the public domain. So they have that law in the US. But in the Philippines, okay, so the materials or the any published materials that is 40 to 50 years after the death of the author, that's the only time that can be considered as public domain. Okay, so Creative Commons attribution, it means that attribution required allows adaptation and redistribution. So you just need to acknowledge the author. Okay, attribution, share alike. So you just acknowledge the author, then you can share them. Okay, or you can remix, or you can produce another product, then you can share it. For attribution, non-commercial, it is you have to um, recognize or acknowledge the author, then but you cannot sell it. Okay, so attribution, non-commercial, share alike. So you have to acknowledge the author, but you cannot sell it, but you can remix, or you can produce another product out of that content, or out of that OER that you downloaded. So permission given to the OER, so you can read, reuse, revise, retain, remix, and redistribute. Okay, so we have discussed this already. So while the open access, attribution, no derivatives. So it means you gonna acknowledge, you have to cite the author, but you are not allowed to distribute them. Okay, or yeah. Sorry, you can distribute, or you can share them, but the same copy. So it is what you see is what you get. So you can share that. So if you download an article, then you can share that, no, but you cannot alter, or you cannot modify that. Attribution, non-commercial, no derivative. So they have also you just cite the author, and but you cannot sell it. Okay. Okay, so there is a copyright. So all rights reserved to the author when it comes to the open access. Well, so they are only free to read. Close or toll access. So it means this is the one that for us librarians, that we pay the databases, the articles, before we can download them, or before we can share it with our faculty and our students. So that's why it needs a login and login credentials, username and password, and it has they have to pay for it, or we have to pay for it. Okay, so OER as a special type of innovation in teaching and learning environment. Okay, so benefits of OER depends on how they are used. Okay, so OER has a potential to reform aspects of educational provision. However, their development is dependent on people and practices. So there are two parts of the integration of OER in the educational environment. So how OER are originally used, and how their use changes depending on the people using them, their goals, and context. In their first use, OER are embedded into a specific teaching and learning environment. Okay, so to fulfill a function, the use of instructional technology is usually classified by its purpose regarding the existing teaching and learning environment in which it is used. Okay, so next is the open resources are already existing but not recognized as OER. Okay, so it is as we already know that the OER can be revised, remixed, and redistribute, and you can make a new product. In each of these cases, the way the OER is now being used may change again. Okay, so the second contrast of the classic idea of innovation is that to a certain degree, OER-like materials already occur. Okay, so it's there already for how many years? It's already available in the website, in the web, but then we don't by the time we don't recognize it, that we can do that. We can revise them, we can remix. Okay. Classifying on what extent educational resources with an open character based on the using openly licensed material. So it is there already, but we don't know that we can actually revise them, or we can actually contextualize them. It means that once we downloaded it, and we can already make use, or we can already have it as improve it according to how we need the materials in our own setting. Although innovation may begin with a new procedure or product without the definition of or application, so we need to have mga policies and okay. So, and by defining the problem and proposing the intervention that is expect will solve the problem. Okay, so especially now that we are in the pandemic, so we have our educational system is being challenged by with this in this time, especially at this time of pandemic. So number one, we have fostering the use of new forms of learning for the 21st century. So the new forms of learning are required to provide learners with a learning experience that better facilitates personal development and success in the knowledge society. So this includes the use of approaches to learning which involve learners as a community in the development of their own learning materials and support to other learners. Proponents of the 21st century learning refer to the need that we need to shift when it comes to the skills. So in the previous years, we just recommend the 3 R's, the reading, writing, and arithmetic. Today, we need to develop the skills of the students into 4 C's: creativity, creative thinking, collaboration, and communication. While the 3 R's emphasize repetition, memorization, and recall, 4 C's focus on strengthening a student's ability to evaluate information and to combine that information with imagination and to create something new and innovative. With this, the possibility to easily adapt and share, OER supports that initiative. Second is fostering teachers' professional development and engagement. Teachers' development and engagement has been shown to be the key to effective learning. So the adaptability of OER allows teachers to revise and tailor their educational resources to provide a better fit to educational environment in which they are teaching. Okay, so it is also expected that this opportunity can lead to a higher level of collaboration between teachers, because once you are a member of, or you want to become a member of an OER platform, so you have already connections. Number 3 is containing public and private costs of education. Higher levels of participation in education systems across the world lead to a challenge of the cost of sharing between public budgets and private households to cover the cost of high quality learning materials. So we all know that, especially now during the pandemic, everything or all the resources, even we already have the open access, most, if not all the vendors has already offered their open access resources. But then if you want to have a most relevant resources, you have to pay. OER offers possibility of reducing this cost through developing, sharing, and updating resources effectively. The cost of the textbooks has a profound impact on the college students, not only in the college, but to all the students from kinder um, to the college. Many of whom must wait to purchase their course materials until well into the semester or choose not to purchase them at all. Or they can use the resources in the library. So, but then there is no textbook in the library. So what we have in the library are reference materials. The cost of textbooks might not be a major issue on its own, but it can be an hurdle for students already struggling to get by, especially if they are already paying the tuition fee. The fourth educational challenge is continually improving the content of educational resources. The dynamics of a knowledge society lead the three challenges for educational resources. So they must reflect new developments in the subject area they cover. They must reflect new learning theories in order to better support the high quality of learning. And they must be fit for the purpose of the expected learning outcomes and the heterogeneous group of learners who are using them. The adaptability of OER offers the possibility of keeping educational resources at pace with this dynamic because it is possible that the one of the best school in the Philippines or in the US could will upload their materials, then some of the schools in the Philippines or other countries, especially the third world countries, so they have the what's this the opportunity to have it or to use it to use that in their classroom. Number 5 is the widening the distribution of high quality of educational resources. So high quality resources for education are being produced and used in some educational institutions. Okay, so for some groups of learners and in some countries. So those high quality resources being produced, like for example, it may I allowed to say like MIT, because they are partnering with Merlot to produce, and they are, yes, they have high quality of resources. So, and they want to share it to the other educational resources through the OER. The ability to share OER offers the possibility to breaking down the boundaries of highly quality provision by ensuring the more even distribution of highly educational resources. Okay, so this can build bridges between informal learning and formal education and facilitate lifelong learning. Number 6 is reducing barriers to educational opportunities. So many learners are excluded from high quality learning opportunities because of the requirements of place, time, and pace of learning. Okay, so OER offered as digital resources enable the extension of educational resources beyond a set of place and time of provision and allow provision at appropriate pace for the learner. Remember that part of the OER are the open or the courseware. So those students who don't have who can't go to school, or they don't have the opportunity to enroll in a formal education, so they have the opportunity to access online courses from different well-known universities through the OER. Okay, so now that we already have the background, at least, of the OER and how this OER can help in answering some of the educational challenges, we'll go to the possibility of how we can create an open educational resources. And I will show you a video from Iowa State University Library.
Welcome to this week's video. Today's video is going to cover 5 tips for instructors who are considering creating an open educational resource for the first time. First, you need to consider what course objectives you want your OER to meet. According to a 2016 study of faculty using OER in their courses, there are 4 major considerations that instructors have to consider when implementing OER: the effectiveness of the material, the efficiency of using the material, the appeal of the resource over traditional methods, and extension, or the material's ability to extend learning opportunities and accessibility. This study looked into the usefulness of OER that have already been created, but it works when considering a new project as well. Before you begin to create a new resource, consider how effective it will be in your course, whether its use will improve or enhance student learning in some way, and whether it will be usable and useful outside of your course as well. This is an open resource, which means it has to be somewhat customizable for other learning environments. The second facet to consider when creating an OER is whether you already have a resource that could be expanded upon or made open as is. Open educational resources aren't just textbooks. They're also lecture slides, notes, quizzes, lesson plans, lecture recordings, and so much more. Think about it. You can edit course notes that you've been using for years into a textbook chapter, or you can openly license and share instructional videos online. Look around at what you have already. If you've been teaching for a few years, chances are you have some materials you've developed that you could make into something great. But let's move on to something bigger now. What tool or tools do you use to create your resource? This is a pretty big question, and it will depend on the type of resource you're creating, but there's one rule of thumb I'd recommend. Consider using tools you already know. Tools like Google Docs and Microsoft Word can be great starting points for writing open texts, and there are online tools you can import these texts into for sharing later on, if you'd like to update them or share them in a more accessible format. But what are some specialized tools you could use if you really wanted to learn something new? One tool commonly used to create open textbooks is Pressbooks. Pressbooks is an online book publishing platform built on the same foundation as WordPress. Because of this, Pressbooks is remarkably easy to use and offers some great features like themes for structuring the display of your books and an easy-to-use interface for organizing book chapters and sections. However, it is important to note that Pressbooks is only free up to a point. Added features like the ability to clone existing books to edit them or exporting your books into EPUB format are only available for paid versions of the platform. Another tool you can use to create your own OER is the Open Author tool from OER Commons. Unlike Pressbooks, all of OER Commons tools are completely free to use, and you have the ability to share outside resources and web pages on OER Commons as well. When you're creating a new resource in the OER Commons interface, you get this simple-looking screen with basic features like headings, subheadings, and the ability to put images or special characters into your text. However, OER Commons doesn't have a lot of advanced features for displaying your work, so you can't do as much with your design as you might on more advanced platforms. There are a lot of other platforms you can use to create OER as well, especially if you're creating an audio or video resource, so I'll link to a few lists of these creation tools in the description. The fourth consideration you need to take into account when you're planning to create an open educational resource is the open license you'll be assigning to your resource. The most common type of open license attached to an open educational resource, Creative Commons licenses, come in 6 basic types, and each license allows users to have certain permissions when reusing a resource. Before you put out a new OER, it's important that you consider what rights you want to retain over your resource and what rights you want to allow users to have. For example, do you want users to be able to update your resource or edit it? These considerations will affect what license you give your resource once it's been created. Finally, the last consideration you need to take into account before you create an open educational resource is where and how you'll be sharing it. If you're wondering where to deposit your resource, just browse around. Look at OER repositories like OER Commons and the Open Textbook Library, media sharing sites like YouTube for video resources, and see if your learning management system has a process for sharing OER in its interface, like through Canvas Commons. If you want to keep your resources nearby, ask your institutional digital repository if they can host your content as well. There are a lot of options to choose from, and you can even host your resource on multiple sites. But remember, if you share your resource on multiple sites, you'll also need to update it on each of them as well. Consider how you'll address these concerns before posting your resource everywhere. Creating an OER for the first time can be pretty scary, but open educational resources can be a lot of things, and you may already have the tools and foundation you need to make something great. You don't need to run into this unprepared. Think about how, where, and why you're creating this resource before you begin. And as always, contact your librarian or check out our library guide if you have any questions.
So as what? Sorry. So as what the librarians of Iowa University is telling us, so you can start with you are facing now your computer, and I know you have already, for 1 year, you have already made your OER, the materials in your or educational learning materials that you shared with your student, and you can start with that. So, and we also have, aside from the, and we also use various materials or tools for producing an OER. So you can start with, of course, as what the video is telling us, you can start with the MS Word. So I know that, or most of us, we use MS Word to encode our syllabus. Okay, so we can start with our syllabus if we want to share. And from that syllabus, we prepared so much, or we prepared lecture videos for, and we also prepared, of course, quizzes. So we already have the materials in us. So if we have these tools, and we have if you want to work with text, you can, of course, use the Google Docs, the Pressbook, one shot. Okay, so this is the Pressbook has 3 products. So there is a feature that you can access it free, and if you want to have another more complicated and very high tech na siya for na feature, so you will be asked to pay. So they have directory, authoring, and editing platform. And the open author tools refers to the material, to the platform. For example, the OER and the Merlot has the open author tools, where all you have to do is to just fill out their form. Later on, I will show you what is the open author tools of Merlot looks like. And we also have the work with a video. Okay, so of course the YouTube and PowerPoint, you can produce a video out of the YouTube. The Travis Go, Edpuzzle, and Screencast-O-Matic. These are the material, the tools that you can use to produce a video. So I included also the link here, so that if you have time, then you can go through or scan with it. And of course, if you want to have an interactive classroom, so we have the Mentimeter, Poll Everywhere, Go Soapbox, okay, Quizalize, and Formative, and the H5 by 5. So H5P, H5P is embedded in our LMS, our MySoul, the learning management system of Silliman. So we usually use this one. And we can also share with you our OER. And of course, we have the video conferencing, the very known one is of course, the Zoom and the Google Meet and the Jitsi. So with all these tools, how can we possibly know, or how can we possibly create our OER? So that's the reason why you are here. So we are all learning, and our sole office is very much willing to teach you on how to create an OER, and we already started it last June. Okay, so if you notice the content on how to create a content, on how to make it interactive, or on how to, and also we started the use of creating instructional online repositories using YouTube. Okay, so, and of course, the use of Canva, instead of using PowerPoint, you can use Canva. And of course, on June 22, we'll have to have creating animated presentation using MS PowerPoint and wala siya po. Sorry. Di pala siya makita lahat. Okay, so June 22, we'll have Ma'am Lisa. She will be teaching us on how to make a animated presentation using a PowerPoint. And we have, on June 22, we have Ma'am Alfie she'll be teaching us on how to pre-record our lecture video. So these are the tools, or this will be our first materials for our OER. And of course, this is just the June schedule. We still have the July. On July, we will have, wala pa tayong ano sa July, advance ko na para you can already mark your calendar. Okay? Nana, wala ko nakita. Sorry. Ang July, we have July 14, we have creating rubrics using online tools by Ma'am Alfe. And on July 15, July 12 DI, creating educational website by Ma'am Lisa, because we need to have a platform where our students can access this OER of ours. So we need to know how to make a website. Mag-design tayo ng website. Then on July 14, Ma'am Alfie will teach us on how to create rubrics using online tools. And on July 15, Ma'am Joy D will be teaching us to build interactive presentation using Mentimeter. Okay, so for more details, please, if you want to have an update of our webinars, please follow our Silliman Online University Learning Facebook page, so that you will be informed that there is the schedule. Okay, so part of creating our OER, we need to do our research. Okay, so, and there are so many available OER out there in the web. Okay, so, and I just got the very best, mga best ng mga OER. So educational repositories in North America and United Kingdom. Okay, so I also place the URL so that if you have time, you will be amazed of what you will be discovered of this collection, from the syllabus to the quizzes to the interactive, even the games, the gamification. I was able to scan yung game na yung your son is using in the, mag-build sila ng house, mag-build ng swimming pool, and mga ganon-ganon. So there is a game, yan ang ginamit to produce a, parang to present to the students the parts of skeletal system. Okay, so very amazing siya. So I want you to explore them. But I want to give you a background of Merlot. Okay, so Merlot is a multimedia educational resources for learning and online teaching. Okay, so it was started in 1997. It is the oldest and one of the largest general repositories in existence today. Because it is a repository, it houses only records of learning materials, not actual materials noon. Katong 1997 pa. But when Merlot 2 launched last October 2013, continues to evolve as institutional partners and professional organizations are invited to join the cooperative endeavor, and it has a freely available resources designed primarily for faculty and students in higher education, but it is also has a material for grades K to 12. Okay, so it links to all types of online learning materials. Okay, so and we also have the OER Commons. So OER Commons is created by the Institute of Study of Knowledge Management in Education in 2007 with funding provided from William and Flora Wellet. Okay, so it functions as a portal for teaching and learning materials around the world, and the OER Commons does contain numerous games, simulations, and interactive resources, along with instructional materials. Dito ko yata nakita yung, ay nakalimutan ko yung pangalan ng online games na yun ang ginamit. It was amazing jud siya. Okay, so the affiliation with respectable content partners such as MIT also attests that to the high quality of many of the materials in the OER Commons. So, and of course, we have the Jorum. Okay, so Jorum was launched in 2006 and is funded by United Kingdom Joint Information System Committee. So these are, I mean, the 6 OER that I got from is peer-reviewed siya. So although therefore, if you want to upload your resources, okay, so you can do it freely, but it will not be automatically uploaded to the system. So they have to review it. Okay, so for college and educational repositories, so we have the West Online. Okay, so this is Wisconsin Technical College. Okay, so it is a consortium of 16 two-year of college, technical college that receive funding from the improvement of post-secondary education and learning anytime, anywhere partnership, as well as the National Science Foundation Advanced Technology Education Program. Okay, so, and we have the INCLOR, the North Carolina Learning Objects of Repository. Okay, so this is, of course, it was established in 2006, joint effort by the North Carolina Community College System. Okay, so it composed of 58 public community colleges in North Carolina. Okay, so, and of course, the Galileo Open Learning Materials. Okay, so it is an initiative of Galileo and University System of Georgia. Okay, so this repository is administered by Affordable Learning Georgia, an initiative of Galileo and University System of Georgia, which aims to reduce the cost of textbooks to students and contribute to their retention, progression, and graduation. Okay. And of course, as I promised, I want you to, if you have another gadget there, you can type in the Merlot, ito. http://www.merlot.org. Okay, so if this is their interface, so if you just want to s- uh, to know, or if your subject, if they have materials on your subject na gina-teach mo, so you can just directly go to their search box. You can type in here. But if you wanted to upload and to know the benefit of being a member of Merlot, you have to sign up. So when you sign up, you have to fill out this form. Okay, so this is the form. Okay, so and there is a disclaimer. Merlot is a free and open online library designed for educational community and learners around the world. So as member, you can contribute to the library of resources, build your own personal collection, contribute your comments, learning assignments, and evaluations, and participate more extensively in the Merlot community. As an open community, Merlot members are required to sustain professional communications. Content that is vulgar, obscene, or contains adult themes or images will be removed from Merlot immediately. It is not appropriate to advertise any business, product, or service on Merlot. Merlot will delete any content construed as advertising. Merlot members who attempt to use Merlot as advertising channel or post other inappropriate material will have their membership deactivated. So I just want you to know that even it is an open repository, okay, so open educational repository, and but yet they really have a quality materials inside this repository, because you cannot just upload what you want. They have their peer review committee to make sure that the materials you uploaded is quality, okay, so and worth for sharing. Okay, so you have to, of course, fill out this form up to here. Okay, so you have to put your email. Okay, so and of course, you have to check to make sure that you are not a robot, and then submit. When you submit it, then this, bakit ba may green and red? Okay, so um, they will message you that meron silang gin-email me. They sent you an email, then you have to check or to para ma-confirm imong membership. Okay, so checking your email, so this is it. Then you have to verify account. Okay, so stricto sila, no? Okay. So after ma-verified yung account mo, you can log in. So mag-log in na ka, then yan, log in. When you mag-log in na ka, so then you will see, okay. So you can write, of course, I'm a teacher of library and information science. So I will type in library and information science, and they will give you this one. Very many topics of materials on library and information science. So how about you? Why not try now? Okay, so and then when you click, when you click this one, for example, I want this one. I want to know what is this digital libraries and. Okay, so when you click that one, okay, so it will give you a message. You are being taken to the material on the other side. Okay, so this will be an open new window. Okay, so okay lang siya. Okay. Because this is a platform, repository lang siya. That means there is another, what's this again? Another access platform siya. And there is another, kung yung sinisave yung mga materials, so pwede sa Google, sa Google Drive or sa cloud, other cloud storage nila nilagay. Okay. So when it comes to that, tanungin nilang natin si Dr. Dave about it. Okay, so this one, so of course, this digital libraries and archives. So this is the overview of the subject. Okay, so when you have to read that one. Okay, so then the material. So the materials, you have syllabus, assignments, handouts, lectures, miscellaneous. As in, if you are the kind of teacher na you really wanted na parang, oh, parang parang tinatamad ka gumawa ng ng assignment, oh sorry, yeah, ng quiz mo or whatsoever, then you can just download it. Sorry, hindi. You can revise it, then you can use it sa imuhang imong class. Okay? So when you click that one, then it will show you this one. Okay, so course introduction, information. Okay, so this is the lesson, weekly lesson nila. Okay, imagine they have this in their and you can access it. Okay, so you can download it, then you can revise it according to your need. Okay, so for the license, okay, if you notice, meron siyang ganito. Okay, so when you click this one, this is to let us know kung ano lang po yung dapat or kung ano yung rights na binibigay sa atin ng author. Kasi if you are the author, then you can restrict, pwede mo sabihin na hindi pwede yung video, hindi pwede siyang pwede siyang ma-distribute, but di siya pwede ma-revise or whatsoever. It's up to you. Meron kang form na fill outan. Okay, so when you click this one, then it will show you what license that material bears, or the rights that the author wanted you to have. Okay, so if this one share, adapt, and remix everything, so this is what really the Creative Commons wanted us to do in the OER. Kasi ganito siya, if you have time, you just can, if you're interested to know sa guna siyang Creative Commons nga license, and you will see there na if you want, for example, ako, I wanted to upload my educational resources, then may dyan na kailangan mo magpabayad or what, so dyan pa lang hindi na nila i-upload yung yung materials mo, kasi this is a free platform. Okay, so if you want to add a material, so this is for browsing nila. If you want to add the material, this is what I'm telling you, meron kang form na fill outan din. Okay, so yan, ng title of the material, discipline, description, keyword, then ang images na gusto mo ang i-upload. Okay, so anong material type niya? Ano siya, ng video, MS Word lang siya, or PowerPoint, or whatsoever. So, primary audience, that's for whom, and that's for anong level. Okay, so anong language, of course. Okay, so the author, and the authors, if marami kayo, kung gusto nyo. And this is what I'm telling you, that give us we will determine if what license what rights we will gonna give to our audience, or to the teachers, or to the researcher na gusto mag-download sa atong resources. So pwede siya yan. Okay, so is this a source mobile app or whatsoever? Source available, cost, is accessibility information available, Creative Commons. Okay, so fill outan mo yan. Then, hindi na-cut ang submit. Last na siya ang submit. You have to submit. Okay, so if you want to, of course, if you know that your what's this, your OER or your materials, your learning materials is worth sharing, why not? Diba? So you can submit, then you check if that will be uploaded kasi i-preview pa man nila. Okay? So I think that's all, and I want to leave this quotation from one of my favorite um, leadership author. Life is not accumulation. Okay, so even how many years na tayo nagtuturo, and how many tambak na yung mga quizzes na ginawa natin, yung PowerPoint na ginawa natin. Okay, so it's about to share. So it's about to contribute to the community. And so that especially now in this time of pandemic, that everything is very expensive, even the resources. So even mga vendors or mga publisher, they have they open the resources just to to ease the difficulty, especially in accessing the information that, especially for our students. So teachers, I am challenging you. Let's contribute. For I know I know that you have already stored so many learning materials there in your computer. Let's evaluate if it is worth sharing. Then let's look for the platform. So, and your school can also um, make your own platform. So it takes time, and it takes money, it takes budget, but it's worth. Okay, so because you will be sharing the best resources you have in university, produced in university, to the whole world. Thank you. Sandali.
Okay, hello, Ma'am Myra. I will be your moderator for the open forum. So thank you so much for that presentation. We are now down to our open forum. So if you have some questions to Ma'am Myra, you can either raise your hands or type your questions on the chat box.
Walang question. You can ask your
Yeah, you can
walang
ask Ma'am
question. You
Myra
can
directly.
anyway, they can ask also their librarians. Their librarians knows about our open educational resources. So, diba, yung materials na ginamit ko is also produced by libraries in other countries. So,
I think they're still formulating their questions. Or again, you can unmute your microphone and directly ask Ma'am Myra. Well, I have a question, Doc Villanueva. Among the six OER you have showed to us, which among those have you fully tried, and would you want to like suggest to us to use? Oh, unmute po, Ma'am Myra.
sorry. Okay, so it's so obvious that I'm using Merlot. If you notice yung fill out ko na form, di ko pa na yung naging post ko sa ano siya. Okay, so I'm using Merlot because you know, it is of course high quality jud ilang kuan, and then based on the reviews and of course feedbacks from friends, because I'm not our library and information science materials is still dami lang siya makita in other OER pod, because seldom po nag-upload siguro mga librarians. So Merlot has a collection of library and information science na materials. And if you want to try yung mga interactive, mga simulations, you try to scan the OER Commons. Maganda siya.
Okay, yes, I'm also trying the Merlot as we're
Merlot.
speaking. Merlot. Oh, Merlot, you pronounce that as Merlot pala.
Silent T.
Okay. I'm also trying it out and it looks good. I've already like opened one of my subject and they've got really some interesting documents there. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for that. So I guess we no longer have any questions from
Question.
our audience.
Baka busy na sila pag-scan.
I think they're trying it out already. So, okay, so we are now into the evaluation part. For you to be able to get your certificate for today's webinar, please make sure to fill out the evaluation form on the link provided here on our chat box. So again, please click on the evaluation link and that will serve also as your certificate for this afternoon's webinar. So thank you so much, Doc Myra Villanueva, for your time today, and everyone also thank you for joining us this afternoon. Please don't forget that we have another training, as what Myra has mentioned a while ago. The next training is on June 22nd. That is creating animated presentation using MS PowerPoint. And in the afternoon, creating pre-recorded lecture videos using PowerPoint. Okay. And by the way, that's open for all. And this webinar is recorded and will be posted in our Facebook page as well. So that is it. Do you have any last words, Myra, for our audience?
Thank you, everyone. Of course, you can start or you have to continue to attend our webinar so that you can start making your own OER. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before you go out, guys, can you please open your cameras? We'll have a photo op with Myra. Thank you so much. We'll just count if everyone's already great. Okay. 1, 2, 3, smile. Next page, Sir Steve, one more. How many pages? Okay. 1, 2, 3, smile. Is there still one more page? And one more page because there's like almost 100 of us. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you once again for joining, everyone. Have a great day and stay safe.